The time has come for the Greninja PvP IV deep dive, basically covering the important stat checks and the associated PvP IVs for Greninja in both the Great League and the Ultra League. If you're not too familiar with the PvP IV deep dive series, or if at any point in this video you're kind of confused what I'm talking about, I highly recommend checking out my PvP IVs simplified video, link up above and in the description. Basically, get your feet wet before you dive off into the deep end here. And if you want to reference any of the tables that I feature in this video, or any of the information in a text-based format, then link down below to my article on GamePress, the Greninja PvP IV deep dive. Basically, covering everything I talk about in this video, but in a text-based format. Without further ado, let's talk about Greninja. When it comes to Greninja in the Great League, there are two basic flavors we're looking at. We're looking at the high bulk Greninja, and then we're also looking at a slight attack weighted Greninja, aka the Azumarill Slayer Greninja. So up here I have 128 different PvP IVs that are focusing on a higher bulk weighted Greninja. The stats that we're cutting off here at are going to be 99.61 defense, which covers Frostlass breakpoints up to a 122.5 Frostlass, which is the higher end of attack weighted Frostlasses that want to have a high amount of bulk. You can find more details in my Frostlass PvP IV deep dive, link above and in the description. Basically, there are higher attack weighted Frostlass out there, so having a bit of a higher defense could be beneficial. This also covers Toxapex as well, but if you're going for higher ends of Frostlass, then you should be covered for the Toxapex anyways. When it comes to the HP stat, the cutoff here is 115, and this is a little bit cautious on the HP weight from what I was seeing. Like roughly 111 to 113 HP is pretty fortified for Greninja. I'm going with 115 though because I noticed that there are some full farm down situations that could come up with Bastiodon and Carbink. And they're kind of niche situations, but I think just avoiding getting fast move farmed before you can reach a KOing charge move is kind of a good idea. And because Greninja is such a glass cannon Pokemon here, it's only really going to be eating one charge move from most things anyways. So focusing on the HP generally is a good idea rather than thrifting on it a bit. Now, if you are focused on this high bulk and you're thinking the rank 1 is the way to go, I do have a bulk product sort here. And if you click on it, you can find out that the rank 1 actually isn't the highest bulk of the Greninja out there. We're operating with a 315/12 for the rank 1. So if the focus is on bulk, you know, the rank 2 or 3 might be a better idea. I'm personally a little smitten towards the rank 4 here, having 118 HP with that good defense stat going on. Now, of course, this could be flying a little bit too close to the sun for some of the Frostlass IVs out there, but this 118 HP is pretty unique. It does stand out with that defense weight, and it could be pretty impactful in some matchups. Of course, if you are going for higher bulk than the rank 1, then more often than not, you're going to be having a lower attack weight than the rank 1. But attack weight isn't exactly a big focus for Greninja unless you're hitting at least 140 attack. That said, there are a lot of slight charge move breakpoints that happen along the way, where if you were to pick up one of the higher attack weight ones from this list, you could be, reaching that potential, most likely with the ones that are 139.7 or higher. Of course, you are thrifting a little bit on your bulk to do that, so your mileage may vary. But when it comes to the Azumarill Slayers I'm going to talk about next, their bulk doesn't exactly meet this quality, so there are some trade-offs. I think overall it's going to be up to you to decide which specific IV spreads are going to work out best for the meta that you're facing. But yeah, in the next section, I'll talk about these attack breakpoints in a little bit more full completion here. And here I have the 150 attack weighted Greninja here for the Great League, the Azumarill Slayers, if you will. For this list, I cranked down the defense to 99.36, which will cover Frostlass up to 121.9 attack. So you are kind of risking it a little bit against some of the Frostlass there. Against most high stat product Toxapex though, you should be perfectly a-okay with this. And then I also dropped the HP check down on this list to 111, which covers the Deoxys Defense Form 1-1, the Jellicent 1-2, the Cofagrigus 0-1, and some Diggersby 0-0 shield situations, depending on your defense stat. But the main thing about this list is going to be the attack weight. I call it the Azumarill Slayer because that's kind of like the big poster child of this attack weight, but there's a lot of other things that could be going on with a higher attack weighted Greninja. Here is a simple list of all the different sort of attack weights and benefits that you can get from it. The main highlights from this list are going to be the Azumarill at the 140.08 attack for the 2-1 shield scenario, getting the Water Shuriken breakpoint. Then there's also the 140.51 attack breakpoint against the Toxapex for the 1-0 shield situation, giving a breakpoint to the Night Slash. So against some Toxapex, you could have a lower attack weight, and you'd still be able to get it because they could have a lower defense stat than the rank 1, which is compared against. If they do have a lower HP weight, though, then you might not need this level of attack because, I mean, the Night Slash is, you know, it's only going to be like, what, 3 or 4 extra damage against them, so it could balance out. But I think if you do want consistency in that kind of situation, then going for the 140.51 would probably be better. And then the third main one that kind of stands out to me here is going to be the 141.09 attack breakpoint against the Swampert for the 1-1 potential against it. And then Swampert has the same defense breakpoints as Shadow Swampert. You don't seem to get a even Steven shield scenario kind of flip against the Shadow Swampert with this attack breakpoint, but if you kind of hedge your bets in those uneven situations against Shadow Swampert, it could pay off, where you could just farm it down with the Water Shuriken before it reaches the next Hydro Cannon, where otherwise maybe you're not doing that because you got the lower attack weight. Overall, your mileage may vary with these attack breakpoints, but just knowing about them, being aware of them, could be to your benefit. Another thing I want to highlight too is if you're kind of thrifting a little bit, maybe you don't want to have this high of an attack weight. The 139.33 attack weight for the Bastiodon 0-0, it's a Hydro Cannon breakpoint, and then the Togedemaru 1-1, which is a Water Shuriken breakpoint, is also pretty tasty if you just want to dip your toes a little bit into the attack weight, but you don't want to go all the way with the attack weight. And then if you want a simple way to navigate the Diggersby situation, you can sort by bulk product here. And I feel like the ones that are at or above 11,356 bulk product, the majority of these seem to handle the Diggersby pretty well. And then there's like another higher HP one somewhere around here. I think it's the 215. Yeah, the 215 can also handle a really high stat product Diggersby in the 0-0 shield situation. So if you are interested in having that tech as well, that is something to pay attention to. So I'd say from this list overall, like my favorite kind of thrifting ones are going to be that 215 and the 136 stat products, because you do get a lot of bulk, enough bulk to handle a lot of the bulk situations, and then you do have that higher baby bit of attack. Enough attack to, you know, do some things. But overall, what the best Greninja IV it's not very clear. Because like you could look at this list and say, well, maybe the rank 74 is the best because you still have that higher HP quality, and then you also have the higher end of that attack weight. Or you could go over here and say that those two are the best because they've got a good bulk weight while also getting the most out of the attack weight. Or you could just say all this attack weight stuff is malarkey and try to go for high stat product. But like I told you guys before, the rank 1 isn't the highest bulk product one, so if bulk is your focus, well, here's 10 other IV spreads that are a bit more bulk focused than what the rank 1 is. So it's a bit questionable. Is 1.2-ish attack worth 1 HP of trade there between the rank 1 and the rank 2? Is having that higher HP stat for the rank 4 worth thrifting on your defense so much? Ultimately, that's up to you to decide and boils down to which IV spreads you actually have to work with. Overall, given how touchy the Great League can be, especially when you look at cup formats and like the Play Pokemon Championship format, I'd say whatever Greninja is the best is the one that's going to get the most amount of advantages for its stat weight that you're perceiving for the meta you're going into. So overall, I'd say going for multiple stat-weighted Greninja, have them evolved, have them starred and named or whatever, ready to go. So whenever you do run into that meta where you feel like you want a particular stat weight, you'd at least have it on hand, rather than being limited to just 1 or 2 Greninja IVs that you built for the Great League. You don't have to power them up and 2-move them right away. Just got to have them evolved with the Hydro Cannon, and then you should be safe. And should the time come, you can power up them then. Yeah. Even some of the wackier, super high attack weighted Greninja could have some niche value. Moving forward, we have the Ultra League Greninja IVs. Here we have about 48 different IV spreads that I find to be optimal for the Ultra League, and overall the Ultra League Greninja is a lot more straightforward than the Great League. The main focus is going to be on bulk, and there aren't nearly as many like useful slight attack weights that I feel like are worth chasing after. So we can just kind of double down on the bulk here. For a minimum, I'm setting it at 130.62 defense, which covers Shadow Claw Giratina Altered Form for the 2-2 shield situation based on roughly 4 attack IV Shadow Claw Giratina Altered Form there. Obviously, if you're up against like a higher attack weighted one, such as like a raid weighted one, then you could want up to 132.76 defense. And then the HP that I have here is set at 149. I feel like 149 HP is safest overall. It covers the Jellicent 0-1 shield scenario, as well as the Poison Jab Alolan Muck and the Wing Attack Shadow Charizard 0-1 shield scenario. Now when it comes to the Jellicent, if you do have a higher defense stat, you could thrift down to about 147 on the defense there. But when it comes to the Alolan Muck and the Shadow Charizard, because they're hitting you with 1 charge move, not 2 charge moves, thrifting up on your defense to try to trade down on the HP might not work out so well. It's a lot harder to get the charge move defense breakpoints against those guys. So I feel like overall 149 HP is going to be the safest route to go for the HP stat. Another important defense stat to be aware of here is going to be 131.48 or higher than that for the Shadow Machamp 1-0 shield situation, which is achievable with 146 HP should you wish to thrift, or if you don't have this higher level of HP with the Greninja that you have to work with. This attack weight is based on my recommended attack weight for a Shadow Machamp from my Shadow Machamp PvP IV Deep Dive, link above and in the description there. I feel like most Shadow Machamp aspire to have roughly this attack. Of course, they could be a little bit higher, so going up a bit on the defense could be a bit safer overall. So I'd say when it comes to this list here, rank 1 is on top, but I definitely do have a lot of favoritism to the rank 6 because it is the highest defense weighted one. The rank 1, where are you, buddy? The rank 1 has 2 more HP than it, so this defense value, as long as you're tanking 2 charge moves with it, it's going to kind of even out. Of course, that extra HP, which is functionally 1 extra HP, could come in handy sometimes, but I feel like the benefits definitely outweigh the risks when it comes to going with the rank 6 instead of the rank 1 here. And if you want a couple alternative IV spreads to think about, these are some Mondo high defense weighted ones that do thrift down to the 147. I feel like the rank 6 and the rank 45 are pretty safe for the Charizard and Muck scenarios, but the 147, I feel like you might be flying a little bit too close to the sun there if you do wind up in that even-Steven situation against those specific Pokemon, so your mileage may vary there. Overall, I'd try to get the rank 6. If you get the rank 6, you ain't got nothing to worry about. So that's just about all I gotta say about Greninja's PvP IVs for the Great League and the Ultra League. If you have any questions on this content, of course, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, you want to see more like it, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. I know Cresselia is in raids right now, and I don't know if I'll have enough time to do a Cresselia PvP IV deep dive for you, but one thing I can tell you right off the bat is 161 defense. Higher than 161 defense, most likely, but 161 defense is going to be the bare minimum, so if you don't have that on your Cresselia, then you might want to keep trading, and if you do have just 161 defense, you might want to consider trading a little bit more there too. Like a lot of Pokemon chasing after Cresselia's defense stat in the Great League.